Where are we at, Dur?
Stanceworks.
Stanceworks Garage. Today we are taking a very special look at something that you guys have probably never seen before, because I don't think it's ever happened before, right?
Actually, there is one other Honda swapped Ferrari that I've seen. I can't say it's the first one.
K-Series?
No, not a K-Series. It's I think it's like an H22, I think they used. But
oh, ew. I mean, I like H22s, but ew, also.
But definitely first K-swapped Ferrari.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm pumped on it. It's fun.
For those that don't know, this is Mike Burroughs from Stanceworks. I've known Mike for a number of years now, I think. I think I met you in a hotel room hallway.
Really?
Yes.
You have a better memory than I do.
In San Jose. And then, yeah, you were like, oh, I'm Mike. And then, yeah, we were going to a show or something, and we just happened to be in the same hotel.
I was going to say, when would that even have been? I don't think
Week
it's been
Fest, San Jose.
Oh, that would make sense.
Yeah.
That's a while. That's a hot minute.
Yeah. So when was the last time you went to a car show?
Like a legit car show?
Yeah.
Jeez. Years.
So
like outside of SEMA. That's
yeah.
It's been a while. I miss it though. I've been meaning to.
Well, you can bring this out.
That's the idea. I'm actually trying to have something that like I can drive on the street and go have fun. Try to like do car life again. I mean, obviously everybody's had a hard reset from COVID and not doing stuff, but I feel like, you know, you wind up getting so caught up in trying to build stuff and, you know, caught up on your own missions that you kind of stop and forget to just enjoy car life again. And so that's a small part of what I'm doing here, at least.
Yeah, so this is where all the magic happens, huh?
Something like that.
You've been here for...
I've been in this building for 8 years now. I just signed another lease, so for a while yet, but 8 years. And I love it here. The space itself has slowly evolved and kind of just become something of my own, and I like it. It's a good spot.
I mean, Costa Mesa is kind of a beautiful place, so...
It's hard to imagine being anywhere else. I've thought about it because, like, I mean, as you know, rent down here sucks, but...
yeah, I imagine. I imagine it's not cheap, yeah.
But it's definitely a cool spot, and I think, like, behind every door here in Costa Mesa, there's something automotive. It's kind of the automotive heart down here.
Yeah, I can see that. That's like the automotive heart of OC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I like it. I can't imagine being anywhere else. I think I'll be here for a while at least. So I'm doing 2 episodes a week documenting my progress of building what I hope will be a not competitive, but close to competitive, limited class time attack car that will do some street duty. I don't want to build something that is only a race car. Yeah. You know, I'm really looking for a project that doesn't turn out so extreme that I can't enjoy it. I always find myself going down that rabbit hole with my rusty E28 or even my Model A that I built. I had expected to have a really streetable vehicle, and it just kind of snowballed. And so this time, I mean, it always goes down that path. Everything has a race car, right? But I think I'll have something that I can enjoy in multiple ways. But core objective is K-swap time attack Ferrari 308.
What's the goal, you think, time-wise? You don't have a set time?
I would like it to do at Button Willow 13 clockwise. Doing a lot of talking with Amir. I think we're both loosely confident the car will do at least like high to mid 40s, but with the power output and the aero that we'll have at our disposal, if the chassis will do it, the car should be capable of low 40s. So, but the chassis under the car, it's an 81, but this chassis is literally identical to a 60s Dino. It is a very antiquated chassis, and so if you can imagine somebody trying to go out and run, you know, 40s in a 60s car, that's about what it is, even with an engine swap. It's not a modern chassis by any measure. So,
I mean, people that watch our videos kind of won't question why you put a K-Series in here, but I know you've had to deal with a lot of people questioning why exactly you decided to go with a modern Honda engine inside a classic Ferrari. So what is, I mean, people know that it's like modern tech, It's a lighter engine, right? It's like far lighter than what you were dealing with before.
Yeah, so the engine itself that came out of the car with the transmission attached to it, transaxle attached to it, and all of the accessories, and the muffler, so really the only non-engine part also in the weight, was just shy of 850 pounds.
Jesus.
This engine with all of those same parts is 400 on the nose. So it's a major weight savings.
Yeah.
And that's only one small part of why I decided to go with the K-Series. I think a lot of people get caught up in this concept of either you're ruining a car by putting, this no torque 4-cylinder in a car that's supposed to have a V8 in it.
Yeah.
Or they say, the sound of that motor is the whole point of the car, right? And I'm loosely convinced that none of these people have ever actually driven one of these cars. Because I put it on a dyno and it made 163 wheel horsepower. And as a factory car, it's heavy in my opinion. It looks bigger than it really is sitting up on this dolly. It's like the size of a Miata practically.
So it made about as much power as a B16.
Yeah, and it weighs 3,200 pounds stock.
Yeah.
So not a fast car. It sounds good, but it's not like a 355 flat plane crank V8. It doesn't sound insane. It doesn't sound like an exotic car. It just sounds like a vintage dual cam V8.
Yeah.
And when deciding what engine to put in it, I genuinely think if anybody were willing to sit down and discuss it with me, I don't think there's a more logical engine that you could put in the car.
Exactly.
I genuinely believe it is at the precipice of lightweight, great horsepower capability, huge power ceiling, very cost effective to build. I mean, the entire engine build is less than what I sold the engine out of the car for. Reliability is huge. The K platform is hugely established in terms of its kind of racing pedigree. I'd have to guess hundreds of K-Series engines are raced across the U.S. every weekend.
Yeah.
There's only a handful of other engines out there with those same measures. I mean, obviously Porsche flat sixes, BMW inline sixes, LSs, of course, things like that. But engines that go out and really race weekend after weekend, the K-Series is very well established as an incredible engine for that.
And they're everywhere. So if you need to break one and replace it.
Exactly. Yeah. And then last but not least is it's the perfect form factor because the V8 that came out of the car is a transverse V8. And this being a front wheel drive engine basically makes it a transverse 4-cylinder for the back of the car. It's literally drop it in with the Honda transmission and it's perfect for it. And if it has an air shifter, it will be in the unlimited class.
Yeah.
And I'm torn between this idea of building a car the way that I want to build it, which would be with that shifting assembly, or building it to be more competitive, because if this is in an unlimited class, it will literally never be competitive. I'm not planning on doing that much insanity with the car. I'm not trying to build an unlimited class car with it. So do I make sacrifices for what I want so that I can go at least have fun in limited? I don't plan on winning, but it will be fun to go out and at least play with the group, versus go out and just be dead last because I built a car that plays with cars that are really outclassing it. But
how much aero are you planning to do on this car in terms of changing how it's going to look exterior-wise?
I mean, I plan for it to look like a fuck-off race car. I mean, I want it to be wild. I think the 308, I chose this car solely for aesthetics. I personally think this is one of the prettiest cars ever made. I know that when it comes to the Ferrari hierarchy, it's very low on the totem pole, but to me, the only two Ferraris that I like more than this car is the 288 GTO, which is essentially the same thing but with wider fenders, aesthetically at least, and then the F40, which is the same greenhouse but with LM bodywork on it. They're all very, very similar cars. And this one being the achievable one, it makes sense to get. And so I expect it to be a wild take on a 308. I've never seen one obviously done like I planned to do this. We're going to do a pretty wild aero package with a mirror, huge spoiler, huge diffuser,
you have
flat
like
bottom.
Chassis mounted wing that comes out right here and stuff.
Yeah, we're going to do something exciting. I haven't fully decided how to conquer those yet.
Yeah.
But fortunately, because it's a factory tube chassis car, there's a lot of structure back here that we can base it off of. I mean, like the bumper shocks that came out right here means that there's a ton of structure right here at the back of the car to do a chassis mounted wing. We'll do a full flat bottom, front splitter, probably some sort of aero on the side skirts of the car. I mean, we'll go full tilt with it. So
I feel like that would make the purists even more angry.
it's funny because the Ferrari forum has been, somebody found the car and posted it up there, and it's been a hot topic. Well. Most of the comments don't like it or just don't get it. Their biggest bone to pick, honestly, is the fact that I keep calling the car heavy. They don't like that.
I mean, it is though.
I think that this is a very heavy car for its size.
Yeah.
But to each their own, I guess. A 3,200-pound car that's the size of a Miata is way too heavy.
Yeah.
So, but some of the guys over there understand it. They say, I get it, I wouldn't do it, but I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'll be curious to see how those guys feel once I show the car. I keep saying, like, no, I'm going to be going wide fenders and turn it into a race car, and they say, oh, well, we've all seen a 288 GTO or the whatever it's called. There's a evolution version of the car that's kind of the predecessor to the F40. There's only I think 5 of them.
Oh, okay.
But they kind of refer to that and say, oh yeah, like I'm sure you're going to be doing something like this, right? And it's like, no, not quite. Go look at what a time attack car looks like, because that's what it's going to be.
Do you know what turbo and stuff you're going to do?
No, not yet. So that's one of the interesting things about this project. I've never had a real turbo build before. The only other turbo car that I've had is the 1JZ I swapped into an E28.
Yeah.
And
also cool. Yes.
It never really ran right, which was a bummer. I never got to enjoy it as a high horsepower turbo car.
Yeah.
So this is what I would call my first turbo car in actuality. And I don't know a ton about turbos. Half the reason I've chosen to do it is because I want to learn about it. I love learning. I want to expand what I know about the hobby that hobby's an understatement, the life that we live, right?
Yeah.
And so but I don't ever want to feign knowing more than I really do. I think one of the things that I'm looking forward to is partnering with, I don't want to name any names yet because we don't have anything set in stone, but I've got a potential partner for the turbo system on the car, and having them bring their expertise to the table to take the engine that we've built and all of the available information and pick truly the best turbo for the car based on every variable that we can throw at it.
Yeah.
Because I really want to build something that's engineered correctly and not just like, oh yeah, I picked out this turbo and we stuck it on it because we're going to go for this power and that's done.
Yeah.
I want a well-engineered, well-built system that doesn't have any corners cut. Whatever the turbo engineers say, hey, this is what it needs, this is how to do it best, then that's what we'll do.
And this is the mock-up motor, as you told me, right? Because there's a fully built engine coming.
Correct.
So this is like serious business here. You're not just...
No, we're doing a fully built, sleeved, dry sump engine.
Oh.
And it's going to be, full tilt. I told the engine builder what I wanted to accomplish with the car, and I made it clear. I said, no corners cut. You tell me how to accomplish this goal, and I want it reliable. I want to run this car without hesitating about whether or not it's going to pop itself. And they said, okay, here's what we'll do. And I said, all right, cool. And it's great because coming from the world of, like vintage BMW twin cam motors, it doesn't cost anything. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah. So everything probably seems pretty affordable to you.
I don't want to make it sound like it's affordable, because doing this stuff costs money no matter who you are.
Yeah. Were you surprised when you saw some stuff and the prices on them?
Yeah, it was, seeing that, like my buddy is doing a K series into his E30. Yeah. And he bought a 350 wheel horsepower, or sorry, maybe it's crank horsepower, street motor, pump gas, just like reliable. They said this will do 50,000 miles without you even needing to think about it. Like no tinkering, no nothing. And it was like full retail was like $8,000.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. And again, I don't want to sound like $8,000 is nothing. That's a considerable chunk of money. That's a lot of money to invest in a car. But when you come from, you know, like, as Ryan knows, the E30 M3 world.
He doesn't know. He doesn't drive it.
Every time I track the car, I get worried. Like, what if I money shift this and pop it? Because if I couldn't afford to do it. But if I wanted to replace the engine in the car, a 2.5 liter like that's going to cost me $25,000 to make 230 horsepower. Like, you know, so knowing what is capable for the money here is unreal. I think it's so cool what Honda and the aftermarket have been able to do with this engine. The fact that I find myself debating with people online who get upset about what I'm doing, and I say, no, like, you can order an off-the-shelf turbo engine that will make 1,000 horsepower. That's just, you know, the long block, no accessories or anything, but for 10,000 bucks. That's the core price for the V8 that came out of this thing. You know? So it's unreal. The power per dollar. I genuinely think the only engine platform out there that rivals it is the LS. And the LS is absolutely not what I want to do to this car. It's the opposite. I want lightweight. I want high revving. I want affordability. And I wanted a package that also allowed serviceability. If I shoehorned an LS into this car, when something went wrong with it, it'd be a problem. So
it would mount kind of weird too, right?
It would be very hard. Most guys, when they V8 swap these cars, the 288, which is a very, very similar car, almost identical, but it is, I want to say 4 inches or 6 inches longer in wheelbase, and the distance between the back of the door and the wheel is slightly longer, so they could transverse mount the V8. Or sorry, longitudinally mount the V8. And most guys, when they decide to V8 swap and go to a longitudinal V8, you have to lengthen the car. Now, plenty of companies make 288 fenders, and you can swap them out. And it's a tube chassis. You kind of cut it underneath the car and lengthen it. It's, as far as lengthening a car goes, it's probably one of the easier ones to do. Not that it's an easy project, but it certainly wasn't something I wanted to do. So,
are you going to cut into the body?
Yeah, I'm going to cut all 4 fenders off the car. I'm hopeful that I can run a 305 square setup on the car.
Oh shit.
So I've got body work coming from Japan. I had a body kit built for the car.
Oh really?
And it's on the way. It's actually, I'm pretty sure it's already here and it's in customs. I'm waiting for it. I bought it all the way back in November. So basically the weekend that I got the car, I made the call.
So you designed a kit?
No, it's a kit that exists. I don't want to say any more than that.
Fancy. Man, you were moving quick on this.
I knew what I wanted to do with the car the second that I bought it. Well before I bought it. I had a plan, knew exactly what I wanted to do, and as soon as I got the car, I said, okay, let's start moving. I don't want to waste any time. Yeah, it's initially I really planned on keeping the whole interior of the car. The interior was gorgeous.
Yeah, the seats look really, the seats have abs.
Yeah, the seats have an 8-pack.
Yeah.
It was in perfect condition, and I thought, cool, I'm going to just keep it and have fun. And I bought a set of old Bridge seats to put in it. I figured I'd have them like reupholstered and matching leather.
Yeah.
But the more I thought about it, I realized, like, I'm going to go race this car. I don't want to be like conscious about if I'm dirty every time I get in the car. I have to, like, you know, work on it, or what have you, or just always like, oh man, I'm going to, you know, damage a very expensive car interior. And overall, for the car that I want to build, I want it to feel like a race car. I don't want, you know, a completely Spartan, bare interior gutted like this.
Yeah.
My overall objective is something more like an F40 interior or an old 911 RSR, where it's very stripped down and utilitarian, but it is fully finished. And I think that will yield what I'm after, where it's something I can get in and drive on the street. I don't feel like I'm in a tin can, even if the car winds up driving that way because of how, you know, aggressive it winds up being.
Are you going to run Motec?
I haven't fully decided yet. We've been talking about Civecs, been talking about Motec.
Because then you have to consider digital dash displays.
Yeah, so it'll be a digital dash. At first I thought, oh, it'd be really cool to keep the whole analog gauge cluster that has all the gauges in it.
Yeah.
But for what I want to do with the engine and what I want to do with the car, I really want the peace of mind of being able to see all of the data that the computer will tell me. And with as hard as I want to push the engine and the platform, I really don't want to then have some romance of analog gauges be some sort of death blow to the engine because
they didn't warn you of something.
Yeah, you know, I really want to know everything that's going on, and I want to be able to look back at everything that went on after a session, and I think it's just really wise to rely on technology when you can.
You've already gone that route of the modern tech, so you might as well stick with it now, right?
Yeah.
Is the headliner going to stick around?
Yeah, I'm going to keep a headliner in it. I'm going to pull that one out and redo it in black. I want a black interior in the car.
Okay.
I actually...
Bride headliner?
The interior out of this car, a buddy of mine just went out and bought a 308 coupe in black. And he's got, I believe he's got a black headliner in his car, so we're going to trade. He bought my interior, and then I'll build my interior for this car. And then we'll swap headliners.
Yeah. And this gated shifter is leaving, obviously.
Yep, gated shifter's got to go. Everybody keeps saying, oh, I hope it stays, but there's not a transmission option for these cars as far as my research has told me that can hold any real level of horsepower unless you go to basically a race car gearbox. So
maybe you could just fab up a plate that looks like a gated shifter.
There you go.
Yeah, but you're projecting for this car to be done. Oh, it has to be done for SEMA.
Yeah, so the car is going to be at the H&R Springs booth in SEMA. H&R has been a hugely important sponsor of every project that I've done.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate that anytime I tell the guys at H&R what I have in mind and what I want to bring to life, they're always on board to help make it happen. And they always give me a platform to put it out there. So it'll be with them at SEMA, and then presumably the weekend after that will be Super Lap, and I would really like to compete in the limited class. So
yeah, I can't wait.
Me too. Fingers crossed.
Right? It almost seems like it's come together so quickly just because I guess I watch the videos week to week, so I know what's going on with the car. But it realistically, timeline-wise, it has come together really quickly.
It's funny because I feel like it's going so slow. The whole filming and editing process while I'm doing this stuff is new for me. And I built the Model A from a complete running, driving factory 31 truck to this in just shy of 6 months. And that's only working after hours and 1 day a week on weekends. So, because I still had to like maintain a home life and what have you. This I'm I'm able to contribute way more time to, and it's still going a lot slower because of that filming process. So at times I'm kind of irked because I feel like, man, it's been enough time, like this should be done now. I didn't even have to build a chassis for it. But when I take a step back and I realize where I'm at, how long I've got to go, what is left to do, admittedly, pretty much everything, I feel really good about it. Having the engine bolted into the car is definitely a milestone that I feel is the most challenging one. I felt like building what I need to build so that the engine can be mounted properly in the car was going to be kind of the largest engineering hurdle behind it. What's left at this point is more of just what I would consider I'm building a car. If we imagine this engine is what came in it, what am I doing that's different than anybody else who buys whatever car they may want and is going to then turn into a race car? It's the same stuff. Okay, I've got to redo my whole cooling system. I'm going to turbocharge it. I'm going to do new suspension. I'm going to do body work, whatever. It's all much more, I don't want to say off the shelf because nothing for this is off the shelf. It's all got to be custom solution, but it's a much more kind of normal approach to car building versus what had to be done to get to this point. So.
Wait, for like CV shafts and stuff, you have to make custom ones?
Yeah, it'll be custom axles, and then I think I'm going to do custom control arms. I'm pretty sure. I would like to change the suspension geometry to extend the track width because the offset demand for this car is extremely, extremely low. You can fit like a 10.5-inch wheel under this rear arch stock, not a 10.5-inch tire, but that 10.5-inch wheel will be like a 0 offset
Sick.
on the stock arch. And so with a wide arch on it, you know, when I was talking to the body kit guys, they were saying, yeah, we run a 10.5 negative 81 on
What the fuck?
and that has a ton of inside room. I want to use some of that inside room, but I don't want to have a negative 81 offset, or if I went even wider, you know, I mean, that's just gonna,
Yeah.
it's absurd. And so I think bringing the track width out is also really gonna help the scrub radius in the front. I can't imagine how it would drive with that low of an offset wheel on it.
Yeah.
So I think expanding the track width will be really pretty crucial to getting it to drive correctly. And I'd like a wheel solution that, you know, doesn't have to be totally insane to fit.
Yeah. So you just gave him measurements and you just found one that was like, oh shit, this is gonna work.
Yeah, he was like, he showed up, he's like, I think this is gonna be too wide, and because it's quite a bit wider than I initially anticipated.
Yeah.
Because I wanted it to fit
It's a
between the
thick
frame
core.
rails.
Yeah.
But once I trim the sheet metal here, it'll lay down flat on the frame rails.
Yeah.
I'll have to move the fittings to the back of the end tanks.
Yeah.
But the outsides of the end tanks are like perfectly in line with the chassis. So I'll just make a tab that comes off of this and bolts into the chassis on each one. And it's like it was made for it. Just perfect. So it'll lay down on the chassis. And then the nice part is that the all the sheet metal in there ducts it right to it. I don't even have to do anything.
Yeah,
I make some
sick.
bottom sheet metal to close off the bottom. I'm going to cut all this stuff under here out. So
Okay.
I don't need it anymore.
It doesn't need it for structure or anything, right?
No, it was to hold the spare tire and the battery before.
Oh, you can see the battery shape.
Yeah, and none of that goes there anymore.
Yeah.
So I will replace it with one probably like 1/8-inch broken over aluminum cross brace just to make sure that nothing fucks around. But
Yeah.
that should drop a decent bit more weight.
Yeah. It's gonna look cool.
Yeah, and then the heat exchanger will just drop right in here in front of it, sitting in the original tray.
Are you gonna use the original hood?
I would like to. So it needs to have a heat extractor coming out of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we'll modify the hood or make a new one. I'm gonna try to convince a buddy of mine to redo the hood in carbon. See if he's able and willing.
Yeah. You just have to kind of make the duct for it, right? Or does
Yeah. So I'll probably wind up making a mock-up duct out of aluminum or steel or something, and then we'll like remake it out of carbon. Ideally, who knows what'll happen, but it might just wind up being a factory hood and then an aluminum duct.
Let's get a fat ass vent in there.
Yeah, get the heat out of the engine bay and get it out. And I think it'll also look sweet with a huge vent in it.
And then another controversial thing was the headlights, right?
Yeah, everybody loves pop-up headlights, and I get it, but I think if my 2 cents on it is I love pop-up headlights when they're closed. The entire philosophy around pop-up headlights is so that they can design a car that didn't have them. That's why they closed. So you get this they all have pointy noses and things like that. And then they pop up because cars need headlights. None of them are designed with the pop-up look in mind.
Yeah.
No pop-up car looks better with the headlights. That's not a thing.
Do these flip or do they just pop open
No,
like
they
this?
just pop open.
Yeah.
But this car looks really stupid with the headlights up. So it's like, I don't want to drive with them up. Why not figure out a solution where they can just stay closed forever and have a projector mounted somewhere in the grille of the car?
This space is just massive.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to wind up doing, I actually have one of the coolers that Robbie dropped
You
off.
could have just ran 2 small radiators on this.
Joke about it. But if I wind up doing either a pair of oil coolers or something, but this is, a perfect fit to go down in here
Yeah, that's
and
amazing.
duct it,
Yeah.
what have you. So something like that.
Yeah. But it does alter the look of the car a lot though without the front.
Well, so I don't want there to just be a hole there. I want to put the grille and the headlight cover back in it. I want it to look normal. I just don't want the headlights up. I just want to come up with a way so the headlights never have to come up, right?
Yeah. So I guess I'll check back with you when there's more progress.
Come back anytime.
Just bother you for a whole day again.
Hopefully the progress continues. I think it's really going to pick up pace right now. Now that the engine's mounted, it's really going to be kind of lots of smaller projects that I think will tidy up a lot quicker. I have to think about them a lot less.
Yeah.
And
no waiting on parts.
Yeah, there will be a lot of waiting on parts. There's also definitely going to be some impatience and like, yeah, maybe I'll spend overnight shipping on that because I don't want to burn a week. But
yeah.
No, I'm really excited that I'm at this point in the build. This is definitely where the kind of fun is going to kick up, and it's going to start seeming like every week bigger and bigger steps are happening and more is coming together. So
yeah, it'll be interesting just to see how far along you get in just another month's time. Yeah.
Fingers crossed if it makes the kind of progress I'd like it to. You know, the engine is supposed to show up, I think at like middle of next month.
Okay.
So I would like to have it, obviously not like ready, everything else finished ready for that engine, but I would like a lot of the kind of ancillaries to be wrapped up so that I can move on. Once that engine goes in, I can be focusing on getting a lot of that portion of it closer to running.
Just like all the plumbing for all the turbo stuff too, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'll try to get lots of basically get kind of the fuel system finished up, get the radiator and cooling system finished up. That kind of stuff, so that it's closer to ready once the engine arrives. Although once the bodywork arrives, it's I know that I'm not going to be able to help myself. I'm going to turn my attention towards that. So.
Yeah. So, all right. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming over.
I'll see you soon.
So our container finally came in after months and months of waiting. Because of all the stuff that's been going on in the world, like the containers got delayed for probably over 4 months. But stuff's finally here now, and we're starting to slowly unpack all the crazy and weird and also useful things that we have put on our shipping container. But I'll show you some weird stuff here that you guys have probably never seen before. These are actually for Philstar, and this motherfucker went and bought LED taillights for his daily CRV. Look how big these fucking things are. Why do you need LED taillights? Well, nobody really needs them, but Japan has them. These right here are 13 by 7, they're super light. 13 by 7 plus 17 SSR MK3s. 4 by 100 format. These originally were bought by Yuta because him and Phil were gonna build a EK drag car, and we were gonna put slicks on these. But being that that project has been scrapped and the car has been sold, we now have a pair of these just sitting at the shop. They make for really cool display items, but honestly, it would have been really cool if these were resized and used as a drag wheel with a big fat ass slick on it. But yeah, now they're just kind of sitting here. I don't know who wants a pair of these, but these will eventually sell to somebody, I'm sure. Sick, what else you got?
I buy a bunch of shit just for pure purpose of display. I'll leave this with you.
What size is that?
17.8.
Oh shit.
Watch, pick it up.
Oh shit, it's lighter than this.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Put it somewhere nice.
It's just a pair? Or one?
It's a single.
Oh shit.
I've always wanted to buy QFs, but then like, by the time I had any money, they got discontinued.
So what's the difference for the people that don't know?
What's the difference between what?
The QF and the regular P1.
Oh, this is fucking light as fuck. They're forged. For one. Joey!
Whoops.
Joey! Okay, so it's forged. And super light, super brittle.
It says super lightweight forged racing.
Oh, they're not
wheel.
gonna put super brittle. That shit will crack immediately.
Somebody also put the sticker on crooked.
Yeah, whatever.
This is pretty sick.
Yeah, it's like, it's super unusual just to even see one, so. It popped up and I was like, fuck it, whatever. I don't know. You want like real wheel rack or something?
No, I'm just showcasing the weird things that you're bringing in.
What? Yeah, single wheels are hella cheap, and this is like one of those things where it's like I've never seen one. I kind of always wanted to see one in person.
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck not, right?
This is pretty cool. You want to grab that OER manifold? And what is this bad boy here?
This adapts. Well, this is the company OER is known. I guess they're how do you say most well known? That's not right. Best known.
Yes.
Best known for their L series and S series Nissan Datsun stuff. They have like a 50 mil carb, a side drive carb, and manifold setup. That's like a fucking ungodly expensive. If you can even get one. I know my fucking shirt. That's why I was welding this shirt.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's distressing, though.
Yeah, it is. No, it's like when I'm like underneath the car welding, it inevitably happens. But yeah, this is a Solex Mikuni type side drive carburetor to adapt to a B16.
So you can have a B16 with carbs.
Correct. I was actually planning to have a B16 with carbs. But yeah, I guess here it is.
Yeah. It's cool.
Unusual, very cool to see.
Yeah.
I don't know when the next time we'll see one of these is, so.
Probably never again.
Maybe not.
And it comes with one gasket.
No, this is trash. It just happens to be still on there. I mean, I imagine you want to port match that anyways. So.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it back.
Okay.
There's just so much stuff that we've been waiting for months now. You know, a lot of the stuff was ordered like end of 2020, and now we're just barely finally getting it because the ports have been so backed up because of everything that's been going on. So the container originally went from arriving in early January to early February, and then finally we got it in late March. And it was already earlier than expected because they had told us that the rough estimated date was going to be around April 9th. So I'm going to unbox some of this stuff now for the first time. I don't even know what this stuff looks like because I bought it so long ago, and like we were just waiting for it to get here. With Yasu packaging everything. Yasu even tried to ship stuff for us, but it was like the EMS service is not sending stuff out from Japan, so you can only receive mail. So you have to try to FedEx it or DHL it, but FedEx was so backed up that they ended up just giving the packages back, and so we had to throw it on a container anyways. These right here, if you're wondering, are craft square mirrors. I found these on Yahoo Auctions. You can see the original price was around $450. These are the TCF type for the Altezza. And I have mirrors on my ass already, but I really wanted to get something that was a little bit more rare, I guess you can say, that looked a little bit better. Hold on a second. And these came up out of the blue, and I immediately got them. I don't know what condition they're in. I honestly think that they probably need the carbon to be re-clear coated just because of how old they are. It's hard to tell from the pictures when you buy stuff online, obviously, you know, but this is very meticulously packaged. So, since my car is still at the body shop anyways, I was kind of hoping that the car would still be there when the parts came, but as the container got more and more delayed, I was starting to get worried because I was like, man, I'm going to get my parts in too late, and then I'm to get stuff painted and it's not going to match. But now, with my car being delayed too, everything kind of worked out. Very meticulously packaged. Yeah, look at that. Authentic craft square mirrors. They don't have the sticker anymore. And I guess whatever shop used to have these on their car, F-Service, they decided to put their own sticker on it. But yeah, they're in pretty good shape. They probably need a good polish. Maybe I'll get them re-cleared. Not too bad. It's just a little bit dull from the sun. This is really tight still, which is great, the adjustment. Sick. Okay, so I've decided to go ahead and skip the cutting of the actual boxes and opening the shit up because the unboxing things have been kind of terrible. Just because it just takes me so long to take shit out of the box. So I went ahead and already opened this box. And this is another thing that I acquired over the course of 2020 that I forgot that I did. And they finally showed up on the container. I already took the liberty of taking one out so that we don't have to dig through all the fucking packaging that has been so graciously placed upon me. And these are some taillights for my IS wagon that I stumbled upon. I noticed that nobody was buying them on Yahoo auctions, like nobody was bidding on them because I mean the wagons aren't terribly popular over there in terms of being modded and stuff. So I was surprised to see these in the first place. Hold on a second. Okay. So these are custom LED taillights for my wagon. You can see full LED strips. They, instead of using just LED bulbs or the tiny bulbs that you're used to seeing, these are LED rings, and they work out perfectly for the wagon because it's just a circle tail light, so the round ring should work pretty well. They should be working in condition. Comes with resistors. It's pretty cool. The only thing I can't say I love about them is that they're the chrome housings, whereas I have the dark housings on my wagon already, so. But then I bought new headlights too, and my new headlights are chrome housing, so maybe these will match now. Interested to see how they look and how bright they get. So I had to go back and cut this packaging open, otherwise it would take me another 48 minutes to unwrap all this shit. But the cool thing about these is that they also have the inner, because you know how ISs have the small round inner tail lights or brake lights, and these are also converted to the LED rings. And I also realized I didn't finish my story. I found these on Yahoo auctions, and they had been sitting on the website for like shit, maybe like a month, and nobody was bidding on them. So every week literally the price would drop, and I think they started out at about like 500 bucks, which is typically what you'd want to pay for custom LED taillights. And the price just kept dropping and dropping, and then I told Yasu to bid on them, and he's like, are you sure you want those? And I was like, yeah, they're pretty cool, and you know, if they don't look good, then I'll just fucking throw them away or whatever, sell them. And so he ended up like not bidding on them, and I was like, fuck, I'm not gonna get them. And then so I checked back like a day later, and the price dropped again. So I was like, Yasu, we gotta get these because they're way too cheap to not buy. So he ended up acquiring them for me and threw them on the container. He originally tried to ship them to me, but EMS was not having it, so we ended up having to throw them on the container. So it'll look like this. Just imagine there's a trunk where my hand and the bush is. So yeah, hopefully it looks good. Again, if not, no huge loss, just because they were pretty cheap. So it's a Yahoo auction steal, I guess you can say.
That's nice.
Yeah, not bad, right?
Yeah, that's good. It's exciting that I'm fucking ruining brand new fits instead of old Civics moving up in the world.
I mean, it looks really cool. It was just,
Right?
it was just chewing up tire already.
Dude, like a fucking. Oh, sorry. Are you filming right now?
Yeah, but it's fine.
Oh, yeah. I'm just gonna start working the fenders anyway, so it should be cool.
Are you gonna just roll it out?
Fuck it, yeah. It's gonna. I mean, because I'm not gonna make it look all stupid.
The rear already kind of rolled itself, so it's kind of nice. So anyways, what we got next here is a pretty rare piece, I think. I haven't seen one of these in the US like ever, and Life Sports is known more as like a Honda company over here in the States, just because they supply a lot of front lips and wings and stuff for Civics. But they actually make an IS front lip, or Altezza front lip. So this is another thing that came up, and I was just like, you know what, this is a pretty rare piece. That might look kind of cool. It doesn't look great in photos, but I imagined that I was hoping that it might look better in real life, and now that I have it, I am not convinced. So it's just really huge, so I don't know how it's gonna look. It almost reminds me of like Charge Speed EK, which is I'm not that super fond of, but it was too big for the car.
Charge Speed EK around Yoshi triggers.
Yeah, he loves that shit, dude. Yeah, see, it looks like this.
It does look
Right?
This is a Charge Speed EK.
Yeah, so Live Sports lip for Altezza looks like this, and I'm kind of worried that it's not going to look great, but I bought it with the intentions of thinking that it would look better in person than it would in photos, because the photos look like shit. But there you go, fits that too. It's kind of the same length.
Hey, that's actually pretty close.
Yeah.
Could you back up your car?
Yeah,
Do not
definitely.
accidentally go forward.
Yeah, hold on, let me move this first.
I'm just fucking with you.
I think this might be the only one in America, so. But yeah,
It'll still be the only one in America. It'll just be broke.
it just protrudes out really far, kind of like a Quagmire front, or like a Jay Leno front lip. So we're just gonna see how it looks on random things. Yeah, it kind of is the same length.
Yeah.
I mean,
There are dimensions of our cars where,
it doesn't really flow with the top side of it, but
you know,
at least we have a better idea of how far the lip protrudes out on a vehicle. I guess on a car it doesn't look like it protrudes out as much. And then you know how the Altezza bumper kind of like tapers down and it's really short, so it might kind of work. I only got it because I was worried that at times the Model Lisa bumper might not look aggressive enough with the rest of the kit. So maybe
That lip doesn't fit that kit.
so that lip would kind of offset it because it's bigger.
Makes sense.
But now I need to go find a bumper because I don't have an Altezza bumper.
just fucking chop this shit right here, and it'll be like, it's fucking good.
Like how?
Good?
Yeah, I mean it kind of would work.
I mean,
to be honest, it kind of looks cool.
Expensive?
Huh?
Was it expensive?
No, not super expensive.
Send it to VIS real quick and have them make a fake one.
Man, get out of here, dude.
What? For E90.
Yeah, for E91.
That's pretty much what the Icon front lip is.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, it looks kind of like this. It's just not as aggressive.
So somebody got a Live Sport Altezza front lip and copied it? I mean,
maybe
so, somebody as
definitely
an
copied
Icon.
the design.
Yo should break this shit real quick, dude.
Yeah.
Yosh, you know Yosh?
I'm a front lip slayer. That's front bumper, front end.
Yeah, dude.
No, not you, specifically, but your insurance rate.
Okay, thank God.
Sorry,
for
Joey.
that.
You derail your video here.
No, I mean it's fine. I kind of wanted to see what it looked like outside in the real world. Just finally found a grill.
Yeah, temporary.
In the sidewalk garage.
Just go in and walk away.
Oh,
Walk away.
for it to work. Too bad the plants can't walk away. Yeah, it's not terrible. Better than this fucking thing.
There's like a hood in the bathroom.
Oh yeah. There's no room here, so we had to put the hood in the bathroom.
No, it doesn't help. Makes it worse. You
Yeah.
just need to drink it.
Yeah. Just don't want to take the emblem off or anything.
No.
Looks way better.
Yeah?
I mean,
Other than the black part?
yeah, I mean, you kind of don't really look at the black part. It looks kind of nice. It also doesn't fit very well. There's a huge gap in the
Very
front. There's a gap on this side, but not on the other side. Yeah, there you go. Whoever yanked it off the bumper, like, probably yanked it way too hard.
It's funny because that's the side with the screw too.
Oh, so the screw's pushing it up?
Should I just leave it like that without the screw? Or it still fits the same?
Kind of fits the same. I mean, honestly, yeah, it fits way better on the other side.
Yeah, is that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, look at that, dude.
Shit looks horrible. Spray that stuff on there. Got it in the car?
You can just like sand it down and then fucking re-spray it.
I'll probably just leave it. Get another insert.
Yeah. Doesn't look that bad, dude.
I mean, it's a lot, way better than that, right?
Yeah.
Should clear the bumper, right? Well, shit. Maybe I got it.
Yeah, that's probably better.
Because the bumper's gonna go here and then it's gonna come up, right?
Yeah. And then you can get the sound bouncing off the metal and stuff.
And it's way easier to install this way.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, look at that.
No, it's...
すみません。バックします。ご注意ください。
Nice. This one right here is the Holy Grail. One of the parts that I kind of stumbled upon, I guess, when I was looking for parts in Japan for my car. And something that I've kind of always really wanted, and when it came up, I had to jump on it. This is another one of those Yahoo auction finds, you know? It's one of those things where I had set a price for what I wanted to pay for it, because, you know, it's an auction and stuff, and then Yasuo just went and bought it. And honestly, it was like way higher than I expected to pay for it, but you know what? You're not going to come into these parts that often, so why not spend the money, right? Maybe a little too much bubble wrap, but I appreciate the Japanese people for their level of detail. Look at this bad boy. This is an incredibly rare TRD cluster for a Toyota Altezza. The difference between the US ones and then the Japanese Altezza clusters is that typically the speedometer is in the middle on the US models, and then this side is reserved for the tach. But not only is this one Japanese in that the tach is in center, this is also a TRD version. But yeah, overall, such a sick piece, because one of my favorite features that I've always loved about the IS300 and the Altezza is the gauge cluster itself and how it looks like a watch, you know? It looks like it has all these different dials, and I mean, if you love the cluster, then you're gonna love the TRD one, right? And this one, it's just a beautiful piece. I have new glass for it. If you guys have watched previous vlogs, then you'll realize that I already ordered a brand new piece of glass. This glass isn't perfect, it's scuffed obviously just from use and stuff like that. I don't know what kind of car it came off of, but I imagine the car has since been parted out or wrecked. But yeah, this is a super nice piece, and you know, just kind of like a really cool collector's knickknack, you know, if you're like a Altezza IS guy, or if you just appreciate really nice car parts in general, you know, especially being a TRD piece. You don't see that stuff very often for IS, especially like TRD Japan stuff. What I will need to do is convert if I really wanted to, convert the needles to work for miles per hour and stuff, and that's why I have this Dakota Digital box thing. All it does is create a shadow. But Yeah, I have a converter for it that you can program on your phone and stuff, and then some of the gauges in the middle, like the oil pressure, and I think mainly the oil pressure is different on the US one. I haven't had my car around me in a while. But all you have to do is pick up a different oil sending unit, I think from a Sequoia, which I already have, and then just switch it over to run with an actual gauge. The one I do lose is miles per gallon, but I mean that shit is never accurate anyway, so you know, what is the point of even having that? So this will be cool. I can't wait to see it on the car when I get the car back. I have so much stuff I need to put on. There's still a bunch of boxes I need to open of stuff I've been collecting, and I'll get to it eventually. With just a lot of stuff going on at the shop today. So this one is the cream of the crop. This is something that Yasu made for me, and there isn't one. There's only one actually that's ever been made because we only produced one so far. So think of it as a prototype, but I don't think you guys have ever seen an Exceed big brake kit before. And this is definitely Yosha's first time seeing it. I looked at it yesterday already, so you can open up one of them. It's super heavy. Yeah, caliper. This is a 356 millimeter rotor, 6-pot caliper.
Open it.
Open it. Yeah, I had them. We can get them in whatever finish. So I couldn't decide because I have red wheels, so I wanted to stay neutral. So I got just the anodized, brushed, clear. So that's a big boy.
Oh, 6 piston. Nice.
Yeah.
Did you drive fast enough to utilize this?
No, it's for promo, dude.
This thing looks sick.
Yeah.
The wheel clearance is gonna work and everything?
We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna try to throw the wheel on top of it just to see if it clears. But the TC4 is pretty big inside, so spoke wise. Yeah, these are the brake lines and stuff.
Yeah, Miyasu. You know how to go above and beyond with this stuff.
Yeah. The rotor
It's like
is
Christmas.
fucking huge, dude.
Holy shit.
It's massive. And it's cool that the logo is also on the hat too.
Yeah, look at this shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big ass rotor. It's like bigger than your body, dude.
Yeah, it's bigger than anything I've ever held.
Yeah, so it's 356. And then I also have the rears.
Oh, there's matching rear.
The rear is 4-pot, yeah. So it's very unnecessary. But Yasi was like, I want to give you brakes, and I can't say no to that. And then I guess he just wants to see it over here in the States, you know?
Yeah.
Because he has a set on some customer cars over there, and he has some on his EK9, which he just upgraded to, I think, 360 millimeter, so, or similar to this size. You can just stuck it back in. But yeah, this will be some big old brakes.
Seriously. It's gonna be
I just hope they clear,
great.
but they should clear 18 8.5, 18 by 9.5. Yeah, we'll see. Stuck in this corner. Needs more pressure.